Quick correction before we start, because it matters. There is confirmed release date for the Summer I Turned Pretty movie. There's official first look either. If you've seen a title claiming otherwise, it's ahead of what's actually been announced. But there's still a real, genuinely interesting story here, straight from Jenny Han herself. Let's break down exactly what's confirmed, what's still a mystery, and why the wait is deliberately being stretched out. Here's what's coming in this video. I'm going to walk you through exactly how this movie was announced, because the timing was genuinely dramatic. I'm going to confirm what's actually locked in about production right now. I'm going to break down why Jenny Han is deliberately taking her time, in her own words. I'm going to get into the biggest fan theory hanging over this entire project, the possibility of a Belly and Conrad wedding. And I'm going to close with what we still don't know, because there's a lot left open. Let's get into it. Let's start with how this all began, because the announcement itself was a genuine surprise. On September 17th, 2025, the same day the Summer I Turned Pretty's Season 3 finale aired, Prime Video confirmed that Belly's story wasn't actually over. It would continue with a feature film. Jenny Han, the author of the original book trilogy and the show's creator, announced it herself at a special series finale celebration in Paris, in her own words, from the official press release. There is another big milestone left in Belly's journey, and I thought only a movie could give it its proper due. I'm so grateful to Prime Video for continuing to support my vision for this story, and for making it possible to share this final chapter with the fans. Amazon, MGM Studios, and Prime Video greenlit the film, with Han confirmed to write and direct, alongside co-writer Sarah Kutsurka. Here's your first pattern interrupt, because there was a real viral clue buried in the finale itself, hours before the movie was even officially announced. The Season 3 finale's end credits included a note from Han reading, "Maybe we'll meet again one summer in Cousins." That's Han directly hinting at more story to come, planted in the finale itself, before Prime Video's official confirmation even went out later that same day. Fans immediately picked up on it, and speculation exploded before the movie was even formally real. Now let's talk about what's actually confirmed about production, because there's real, solid information here. According to Deadline, filming began April 27th, 2026, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Han confirmed, during an appearance at the Rap's 2025 Power Women Summit, that the script itself was already finished well before filming started. In her own words at the time, "I just wrote it. We have not filmed anything yet." That's the real production timeline. Script finished in 2025. Cameras rolling starting in late April 2026. Now let's get into the release date question directly, because this is where a lot of circulating content gets it wrong. No official release date has been announced. None. Not even a tentative one. And Han has been directly, repeatedly clear about why fans shouldn't expect it soon. During a Today Show appearance with the cast in September 2025, host Craig Melvin asked her directly whether the movie was coming in 2026 or 2027. Her answer, "We don't know when it's coming out, but not next year." She's repeated that sentiment since. Speaking to Variety around the same time, she said, "I don't know when it will be out, but I don't think it's safe to say next year because we haven't filmed it yet." Given that filming only began in April 2026, and there's still post-production ahead, a 2026 release is essentially ruled out by the show's own creator. Now here's something genuinely worth understanding, because it explains why Han isn't rushing this, and it has nothing to do with the script itself. She's spoken directly about wanting real distance before making this film, and it comes down to something simple. Her actors have grown up. In her own words, "I always wanted some distance for the movie, so I'm really glad to get that breathing space." She's pointed out that the show took audiences through Belly at 15, turning 16, and eventually into young adulthood. But Lola Tung, the actress who plays Belly, was 22 by the time this conversation happened. Han wanted the movie to actually reflect that gap, showing Belly as a genuine young woman, rather than rushing a film that would visually contradict the age the character is supposed to be at this point in the story. That's a deliberate creative choice, not simply a scheduling delay. Let's talk about why this movie exists at all, rather than simply a fourth season, because that distinction matters. Prime Video has been specific in its own language, describing the film as set to conclude its story. The streamer has also historically described the franchise more broadly as a multi-generational drama centered on the bonds between mothers and daughters, lasting friendships, and the process of growing up, not simply Belly's own romantic arc. That broader framing is worth remembering, because it's part of why there's already separate chatter about potential future spin-offs, specifically one focused on the backstory of Laurel and Susanna, the mothers at the center of the original story. The movie is confirmed to close out Belly's specific chapter. It isn't necessarily the end of this universe as a whole. Now let's get into the single biggest question hanging over this entire project, and it's the one fans have been obsessing over since the announcement. Does the movie adapt the epilogue from Han's third book, We'll Always Have Summer, which sees Belly and Conrad getting married? When today's Savannah Guthrie and Craig Melvin asked Han that question directly, she didn't confirm it. She also didn't deny it. She simply said the movie will focus on, in her words, another significant milestone in Belly's life, without spelling out exactly what that milestone actually is. That's about as close to an official non-answer as you can get, and it's kept fan speculation running at full speed ever since. Here's your mid-video rehook, because there's a real, separate theory worth addressing directly. When the Season 3 finale's end credits featured photos of Belly and Conrad celebrating Christmas together in Paris, plenty of fans assumed the movie itself might actually drop around that same holiday season. Han shut that down directly and clearly. I know that everyone was hoping that it was coming out this Christmas, but unfortunately, not happening. Not possible. That's worth remembering, because it shows exactly how far ahead of the actual production timeline some fan speculation has already run, more than once, since this project was first announced. Let's also address the format question, because it's genuinely still unresolved. This is being made and marketed specifically as a film, not as additional television episodes. That distinction matters, because it opens the door to an actual theatrical release, even if it ends up being something limited, like a 1 or 2 day theatrical event tied to a streaming debut. One detailed breakdown specifically pointed out that if a show like Stranger Things can get a theatrical run for its own series finale, there's no clear reason this couldn't follow a similar path. But that's speculation based on industry precedent, not a confirmed distribution plan. Amazon has not announced how or where this film will actually be released. Now let's bring in the returning cast, because the core trio is confirmed. Lola Tung returns as Belly. Christopher Briney returns as Conrad. Gavin Casalegno returns as Jeremiah. Beyond that core trio, full casting details for the film haven't been extensively detailed in what's been publicly confirmed so far. So let's put together everything we actually know versus what's still genuinely open. Confirmed. The movie is real, officially greenlit, written by Han and Kucherka, directed by Han. Confirmed. Filming began April 27th, 2026, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Confirmed directly from Han herself. No 2026 release. Genuinely unconfirmed. The exact release date. The film's specific plot details beyond a milestone in Belly's journey, and whether it adapts the book's wedding epilogue. Also unconfirmed. Any official first-look images, teaser footage, or promotional material. If you've seen content claiming otherwise, treat it with real skepticism until Prime Video or Amazon MGM actually confirms it directly. Now here's my honest read on how this likely plays out, based on everything Han has said directly. I think the wedding epilogue from We'll Always Have Summer is genuinely likely to be part of this film, given how directly Han has left the door open without denying it, and given that Prime Video has specifically described this movie as concluding Belly's story. A wedding is exactly the kind of definitive, milestone ending that framing suggests. I think a release date announcement is realistically still some ways off, given that filming only started in April 2026, and Han has already ruled out a 2026 release entirely. Based on typical post-production timelines for a film like this, a late 2027 window seems like a reasonable, though still unconfirmed, estimate. And I think we're more likely to see an official first-look image or teaser once filming wraps and post-production is further along, rather than anything imminent right now. So here's where that actually leaves us. A movie that's real, confirmed, already filming. A creator who's been deliberately patient, wanting her actors and her story to actually catch up to where the characters are meant to be. A release date that doesn't exist yet, despite what some titles online might claim. And one enormous, still open question about whether Belly and Conrad's wedding is finally coming to the screen. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the movie adapts the book's wedding epilogue? Or do you think Han has something different planned for Belly's final milestone? Are you glad Han is taking her time with this, given her reasoning about wanting the cast to genuinely age into these roles? Or would you rather have gotten this sooner? And now that you know there's no confirmed release date yet, how much longer do you think we're realistically waiting? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe. If you want the real, verified update, the moment an actual release date or first look is confirmed. And I'll see you in the next one.